Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Live Free Now show. I'm your host, John Bush, as always, bringing you the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live a free, prosperous, and healthy life. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Later in the program, we're going to be joined by my good friend, Justin Arman, and he is going to be telling us about this awesome streaming platform that he founded along with an awesome team. And this platform essentially is like an alternative to Netflix and Amazon Prime, which is pretty cool. Let me show it to you real quick. The cool thing about it too, besides most streaming stuff online, is you can actually download an app, and that app can be on your TV. If you have one of these smart TVs, which I know we freedom people aren't supposed to have smart TVs, but I have a Sony TV where you could access all those apps and stuff. I'm sure many of you guys do too. Anyway, this is the platform. It's called CiVL, CiVL. That's a lowercase I. But as you can see, they got all sorts of cool programs. And we're going to be joined by Justin. He's a good friend of mine. Known him for quite some time. He's a freedom guy that's been in the game for a long time. Started a really awesome, successful company. But we're going to be joined by him in the second half of the show, around 11:25, 11:30. We'll break down what this platform is all about and what you can access on it. The war on whores. That sounds like a good one. There's one that I want to watch about Kim.com, a documentary on here about Kim.com. Anyway, we'll break that down. We'll learn more about the series that Derrick Broze and I are doing. Really excited about this. It's a 10-week opt-out challenge, okay? A 10-week opt-out challenge where you'll be able to join me and Derrick Broze every Wednesday, where we're going to be breaking down the foundational strategies that underlie exit and build strategy. So we definitely want you guys to check that out. You can sign up at civil.com/LFA, civil.com/LFA if you want to check that out. It's just $5 a month. You get access to the entire platform, which is pretty cool. And now I wanted to share with you guys, we just did the Four Horsemen, Escape the Four Horsemen webinar yesterday. It was a big hit, and I wanted to give some commentary on that webinar. And really, one thing that I noticed, so let me just throw this out there. It's something Derrick Broze and I commiserate on often. It's, there's so much interest, and people are going crazy over things whenever the pressure is on. People tend to get more active whenever the pressure is on, whenever the predator class is breathing down your neck. And I get it. I totally understand. You guys, let me know in the comments if everything's coming through okay, if you guys are picking up on this material. It looks like I'm showing I have an unstable connection, but I'm not on Wi-Fi. It shouldn't be unstable. So let me know if anybody give me some feedback on how things are coming through for the live program. Of course, you can always catch the YouTube video and the podcast later on, but let me know if I'm coming through clearly. Okay, there's all my peeps. Excellent. So I did the Four Horsemen webinar, and I noticed that there was a ton of people signed up, more than usual when I do a regular webinar. And of course, it's because of the digital ID news out of the UK. And so there's this phenomenon for folks that are doing some leadership and teaching courses and organizing freedom stuff in this space. Those of us that stay in the game, no matter what's going on in the world, because we know that the predator class is always advancing the ball down the field consistently. They don't rest. They're like robots. In fact, some of them are probably reptile demons. Demon robot reptiles. That's a funny name for a new world order. The they. What do you mean when you say they? They're coming to get us. They're building these systems. They are demon robot reptiles. But whenever the demon robot reptiles are like in your face with their tyranny and treachery, We are rolling out the digital ID next week, and you can expect that it will be required if you're intending to work. And this is something that we believe will curb illegal immigration. And there's a scourge on our streets of violence and division and blah, 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 blah. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, we got to do stuff. We got to exit and build. We got to take action. And I'm not trying to rag on folks by any means, but I just really want to make the point, my friends, that you ought to be consistently taking action towards your exit and build goals. One thing that I try to imbue upon folks in our community is making exit and build a lifestyle, living the exit and build life. It doesn't mean, once a month, maybe you go to a meetup or you got some courses and you watch the webinar and then that's it. Or there's a conference that you go to every year. No, my friends, it means living this life. It means living a life that's more in alignment with your values. It means setting concrete goals and consistently working towards those goals. Now, don't get me wrong. I totally understand the struggle. I hear what you're saying, John. I wish that I could spend more time on my exit and build goals, but I got to earn a living. As it is, I'm barely making ends meet. I got to shuffle the kids around, got to deal with some relationship strife. I'm helping my mom. She's not in good health. I don't even have the time to do all of this stuff. I totally get it. Trust me. I understand what it's like to deal with relationship strife and to shuffle the kids around. Thankfully, my mom's in great health. She's been helping me more lately than I'm helping her. God bless her. I totally get it. But at the same time, I have a feeling most, if not all of the people that would throw that objection out. I get what you're saying, John. I should be doing more towards exit and build goals, but just can't find the time. I don't have the time. I have a feeling most of those folks are watching shows on Netflix instead of CiVL.com/LFA. I have a feeling a lot of those folks are boozing it up, maybe sleeping in from time to time, probably a lot of leisure activities on Saturday and Sunday. And that's fine. Let us not forget that the point of life is to enjoy it and to embrace the beauty and wonder that is all around us all the time, even in adversity. But come on, guys. If you want to change in your life, sometimes you got to change stuff. And if you're all of a sudden all in a frenzy because digital ID is here, and in the UK, they're saying digital ID is necessary if you're to work. And now you're like, that's my entire income and my corporate job is all digital ID. And we're like, but we've been saying for the longest time that you should at least have some outside of the system source of income. So when you're faced with difficult decisions, you don't have to say uncle and acquiesce to the predator class's aims. But now you're just paying attention to it. Because it's there in your face again, just like it was during COVID. Same phenomenon took place during the Freedom Cell big growth during COVID. It was like 1,000 people registered on the website. Lockdowns happen, boom, 35,000. Now it's like 44,000, slowly but surely. And so, guys, you just got to take consistent action. Let me tell you a great way to make that happen. Maybe this should just be like old fart activist ramblings for the first 15 minutes of every show. I love you too. And kudos to those of you that are taking action, consistent action. Because that's what it's all about. But here's a way to look at it. When I say make exit and build a lifestyle, okay, Saturdays and Sundays, we want to relax. We want to ease off, take our foot off the gas, maybe enjoy the Sabbath where we don't really do much of any work. I totally get it. That's a great thing to strive towards. Do exit and build activities that are fun and enjoyable. Spend time with the kids in the garden. Take the kids to volunteer at the farm down the street. Get together with your Freedom Cell group and go have a social outing. Go grab some freaking beers. But if you're going to go grab the beers, don't go sit by the stranger at the bar and complain about life, or your buddy that is just all down and out all the time, go and hang out with some freedom people, have a couple beers, and talk shop and strategy, and surround yourself with other people. I guess the point I'm trying to make is it's frustrating for me as a leader in this game to see that people are in a frenzy and feel as though they're caught with their pants down when something happens like a flash, when the agenda's accelerated. Meanwhile, we've been sharing, but they know. We all know what the agenda is. That's one of the reasons in the webinar I did yesterday, Escape the Four Horsemen, of the Technocracy webinar. You can still go register at livefree.academy, livefree.academy/4 horsemen, and you can get instant access to the replay. It'll take you right to the replay. You won't be able to see the page or anything. It's why during the webinar, I was talking about the need to take this consistent action, because the predator class doesn't sleep, and because we already know what their agenda is. I broke down the 4 horsemen of technocracy: digital ID, social credit score. Those 2 are the managing pieces, the measuring pieces. There's an expression: you can't measure what you don't manage. It's a business expression talking about numbers and profit and loss and lead conversion. You can't manage what you don't measure. So the predator class wants to measure you through digital ID, which is an all-encompassing source of all the data that gets scrubbed up from multiple different sources. Social credit score then analyzes that data using artificial intelligence. And so that's the measure. And then the manage piece is central bank digital currencies and vaccine/carbon passports. The central bank digital currencies, of course, manage what you can and cannot spend and buy and sell. And the vaccine/carbon passport manages your freedom of movement. That's how they measure and then in turn manage you. And so I was going to break down how these 4 pieces of technology are being implemented in a variety of different political jurisdictions. But I decided against that. Not only was I on a time crunch, and I want to keep the webinar at least to a decent hour and 45 minutes of presentation and then the rest Q&A. But I just made the point, like, guys, we know this agenda is happening. It's happening faster in some areas than other areas, but it's going to happen everywhere. You hear that, Mr. Anderson? That is the sound of inevitability. It's Agent Smith from The Matrix. And so it's like, we just have to accept that this agenda is rolling forward. And I see that folks still believe that there's a political solution, or that if they sign the change.org petition, maybe the European Union Parliament will listen, right? Maybe the UK government will roll back their plans, but I highly, highly doubt it, my friends. I'm hearing that the video's been blurry and the video is buffering. Well, that's unfortunate because I'm on a high-speed internet here in town. It's not like I'm out at the ranch with the slow service. You know, sometimes on StreamYard too, the video gets blurry. So just bear with me in the low quality, guys. Hopefully it'll pop back on. I'm not exactly sure what I could even do about that. Yep, it's blurry, all right. That's quite the bummer. Nonetheless, we'll make sure the content is so damn good, even though the picture sucks. We're still having fun here. So I don't believe there's a political solution. I do believe that this agenda will inevitably be implemented, full stop, for the masses. But the question is, what does that mean for us? Are we going to go along with it? Do we fall into the digital panopticon enslavement trap, or do we break free of it? Do we opt out of it using exit and build strategy, exiting those systems, building new systems? There's a variety of different systems that you can employ. So again, if you want to watch the webinar, you can get instant access to the replay at livefree.academy/4 horsemen, livefree.academy/4 horsemen. In case you missed it, we went for about 3 hours. The first couple hours is the actual presentation. I made a really special offer for folks to join me in the Accelerator membership as well, with some really cool bonuses for those of you that are looking for some regular support in implementing these exit and build goals. Sign up for the webinar and you'll be presented with an opportunity to join me in that program and get some really powerful bonuses, tons of value there. So definitely check that out. And then again, we have this coming up. If you're just joining us, you're tuned in to the Live Free Now show. I'm your host, John Bush, where every Wednesday we're bringing you the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live a free, prosperous, and healthy life. Coming up here in about 15 minutes or so, we're going to be joined by the one, the only Jarman, is what I like to call him, Justin Arman, a good friend of mine for 15 years now, and really excited about all that stuff. And really excited to hang out with him and chat with him about what's coming up in this CiVL program. And if you're also looking to exit the beast system, if you're also looking to opt out, definitely check out the opt-out series that we have, the 10-week opt-out challenge starting October 15th. That's today. Derrick Broze will be going live at 6 o'clock. It's $5 a month to join. You could join for $5 and watch the series for the next 3 months. So it's like $15 to get the entire series, not to mention everything else that comes with it. So I want to share a bit about another technology. Switching bases here, let's talk about Edge Wallet and what they just launched. So if you've been following our work, especially if you're in the Accelerator program, you know that we have been really bullish on Zano. Zano is a cryptocurrency that's built on the Monero technology as far as the privacy goes. But it goes a step further than Monero, which is great for trading outside the system, of course. Zano gives users the ability to create crypto tokens on top of a private blockchain platform. What do I mean by crypto tokens? Well, a token essentially is a digital asset that can be generated that isn't its own cryptocurrency. Rather, it exists and it's tradable, it's sendable and receivable on another cryptocurrency blockchain. So Ethereum was one of the first Turing complete cryptocurrencies. What does Turing complete mean? It means programmable. So with Bitcoin, Bitcoin was programmable too, but the developers kind of wiped out a lot of those features. You used to be able to make tokens on Bitcoin. There were some really cool projects back in the early days. But Bitcoin kind of got captured a bit and is no longer really this innovative platform for peer-to-peer electronic cash. And it's no longer like this decentralized ecosystem that people can come and make beautiful things on top of. Instead, it's like, nope, we're going to hold on to this and protect this blockchain so that it can only be used as a digital gold store of value and asset that will be incorporated into the legacy financial system. Who's doing this holding? Who captured Bitcoin? In large part, this corporation called Blockstream, MasterCard, Larry Fink and BlackRock are trying to come in. The Trump family, all these powerful legacy style financial interests are coming in. They're like, no, we gotta protect this thing so we can make money off of it, because we're early to adopt, and because it's still early to adopt, if you ask me, in the grand scheme of things, but also in part because we don't want it to be this revolutionary peer-to-peer electronic cash that enables anybody, anywhere, at any time to send and receive money, even small payments, eventually competing with the US dollar. That was the original vision, to compete with the US dollar. Okay, so that was a side quest. Early on, Bitcoin could do these coins and tokens. And so Ethereum was the first Turing-complete programmable blockchain technology that enabled users to come in and create these tokens. What tokens, for example? Well, the stable coins were first started as tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, like Tether, USDT, or US dollar coin, USDC. And so there's these smart contracts that create these tokens, and then you can then trade these tokens. But when you send and receive one of these tokens, you're using an Ethereum address, and you're using the Ethereum blockchain. And that's cool technology. And it can be used for all sorts of platforms and for uses. Very cool. But the challenge with these tokens, most token platforms, most programmable Turing complete blockchains that can create tokens, is that they're completely transparent, just like Bitcoin is. every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. It records that this address sent this much Ethereum or this much of this token to this address on this date. And that could present a problem if you're trying to trade outside the system, if you're trying to do your own thing. And so the beauty about Zano and what the big innovation is with Zano is that now we can have these tokens, these user-generated tokens on a private blockchain platform. Wow, that's really cool. One of the most popular use cases now on Zano, let's go check it out. This is Zano.org. Highly encourage folks to check it out. You can install Zano on Cake Wallet or Edge Wallet. That's what you could use for Zano. And in fact, for those of you that want to join us in the accelerator program, we're actually doing a 1.5 hour live masterclass with Paul Pui of Edge Wallet tomorrow. And Paul is going to be taking us through step by step how to set up Edge Wallet. And then I'm going to tell you about some really cool features, because we normally teach folks Cake Wallet in the Live Free Academy program. But the beauty of Edge Wallet, I'll tell you here in a sec, this really awesome feature that they have. But that's going on tomorrow. If anybody wants to join, you can start a membership with just $1 trial. We got a 30-day dollar trial. I just dropped the link right there. I'm not sure if you can click that link or not in YouTube, but write it down. Join us there if you're wanting to get onboarded into Edge, and then I'll tell you what they're enabling you to do now. But first, as I was saying, there's this awesome token called Freedom Dollar. And this is a stable coin. It's a cryptocurrency pegged to the value of the dollar. And it's useful because it enables people to send and receive money without the value fluctuating like other cryptocurrencies, right? So really cool technology, a private stable coin that is decentralized, and the units, these stable coins, are generated by people supplying Zano to this smart contract protocol. Wow, how cool is that? Let's look at how it works. FUSD is the sovereign dollar, a stable coin without surveillance. There's been 5.5 million of these tokens issued. That's still so young and such a small amount. This $5.5 million worth of Freedom Dollars is backed by $7.644 million worth of Zano. Okay, it's got a 1.3x collateralization ratio. That means there's 1.39 times more Zano on reserve than there are dollars issued, making this over-collateralized and thus a little bit more safe and secure. So that's pretty cool. Freedom Dollar is your private, decentralized stablecoin on the Zano blockchain. It delivers the stability you need with the liberty you deserve, no matter where you are. That's a great copy. Unlike volatile cryptos, FUSD holds its ground near $1, making it reliable for real-world use globally. Discover the mechanics behind its freedom and stability. You can even go verify the reserves. You can swap into it from Zano in a decentralized way also. So really pretty cool, guys. So that's a great feature of Zano. Now let's go check this out. This is something that's awesome to see Paul and the Edge team doing. So let me just give you a quick background. There's this protocol that was released, that was launched not too long ago. It's called Confidential Layer, okay? So in the crypto world, let me know if you guys are appreciating this. I try to do my best. Some of you guys are crypto geeks and you're like, this is great. I'm aware of this, yada, yada, yada. A lot of folks are new to crypto, or even if you're, novice, but you've been in it for a little while, you're learning. I try to do my best to explain every key concept so we have a nice, firm foundational understanding that we can build knowledge upon. So I hope you guys appreciate that. Let me know if you guys are tracking along with what we're rocking here. If you want to learn more about Zano, if you're excited about Paul Pui and Edge, and if you're just joining us, Live Free Now, we're going to be joined by the one, the only Justin Arman here in a second of CiVL. Really excited to talk to him about that platform, what it's all about, some of the programs. So Confidential Layer is a bridge. It's what's known as a bridge. Essentially what the bridges do is they can connect one cryptocurrency blockchain to another cryptocurrency blockchain. So you can actually swap crypto tokens between blockchains. Confidential Layer will work with the Zano platform originally. And here's this really cool feature that is now live. So first it was like beta, and it was kind of complicated, and you had to be a little technical to be able to navigate it. But essentially, what they're enabling people to do is create a bridge between the Bitcoin blockchain, which is transparent, and tons of people have Bitcoin, tons of people use Bitcoin. Create a bridge, confidential layer bridge, between Bitcoin and Zano. And as we just discussed earlier, Zano is a private token platform. So here's the implication of this. You can take your Bitcoin, run-of-the-mill BTC on the Bitcoin blockchain, super valuable. Lots of people accept it and use it, but it's transparent. You can see all the transactions. And there's all these blockchain forensic analysis companies that are tracking and logging, investigating, and this addresses that guys, and they sent this to here, and they didn't claim this or that on this and that and the other. It's just a whole surveillance dragnet. You could take your Bitcoin, run it through this confidential layer bridge, convert it via a decentralized contract protocol into a Zano Bitcoin pegged token. Just like there's a stable coin where these stable coin units are pegged to the US dollar, one freedom dollar equals one US dollar. Now you have one Bitcoin, one private Bitcoin, I think it's called XBTC, equals one Bitcoin, the value. In other words, a tenth of a XBTC, a tenth of a private Bitcoin, will always be worth the dollar value of a tenth of a Bitcoin. That's really powerful, guys. And like I said, this technology was launched several months ago, but our good friends over at Edge, Paul Pui over at Edge, they're making it easy. They integrated Zano. All right, this isn't the blog here. Let me see. Let's search Edge Zano BTC. There we go. Bringing true privacy to Bitcoin. Edge integrates bridgeless plus confidential layer. How cool is that? From Bitcoin to private Bitcoin on Zano. So look, I haven't done this yet. I'm going to be taking the same tutorial that the accelerator members are going to do tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central. We're going to be joined by Paul Pui. Me and him go way back to like 2014 or so, back when Edge used to be called Airbits. The cool thing about Paul is that this Edge wallet is one of the more popular wallets. And a lot of times those old school Bitcoin guys, they kind of sold out to the legacy financial systems, and they kind of watered down their radical crypto cypherpunk roots. Paul, in fact, has probably gotten more radical with age. Most people get more conservative with age. Paul's gotten more radical. Justin just joined us in the wings. Here's a guy that's definitely gotten more radical with age. So we're going to be joined by Paul tomorrow. I'm going to be stepping through the process. He's going to show us step by step how to set up Edge Wallet. And then we're going to walk through the steps to go ahead and bridge Bitcoin into private Bitcoin. So they apparently make it really easy. Open the exchange in Edge, choose Bitcoin, and select BTCX. And that's it. I guess that's as simple as just swapping for one coin to another coin. So really excited about all that. Again, guys, if you want to join us, we got a $1 trial right now. courses.livefree.academy/accelerator-30-day-trial. I hope you guys can click on that. I need to make a URL like acceleratortrial.com or something. Hope you guys can click on that. You can join for just $1. I hope that you would stick with the membership, but if you really wanted to learn this, you could just join this month and then cancel. Don't do that. Join the membership, check it out, find out all the awesome features, and we'd love to have you as part of that program. But this is taking place tomorrow. That's the 16th of October, Thursday at 12 p.m. We'll be joined by Paul Pui, founder of Edge Wallet, and he's going to take us through a demonstration. If you don't join the membership, if you're into crypto, then just go set up the platform, download Edge Wallet, and apparently it's simple as 1, 2, 3 to go ahead and start swapping in. And the implication of that, of course, is now we can send and receive Bitcoin. We can buy and sell stuff with Bitcoin X privately without blockchain snoops or forensic analysis tracking our every move as often happens on the Bitcoin blockchain. How cool is that? Pretty cool if you ask me. All right, my friends, if you're just joining us, this is the Live Free Now show every Wednesday live at 11 a.m. Central, bringing you the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live a free, prosperous, and healthy life. And I'm really excited to bring our next guest on. He is going to be collaborating with Derrick and I to put out this 10-week opt-out challenge. Told you about it before if you were joining us. 10-week opt-out challenge starting October 15th. Members will participate in weekly live presentations and Q&A about how to exit the control grid. This opt-out series will last until December 31st. It's a 10-episode series with the one, the only, at D Broze Live Free, Derrick Broze, and myself. And I tell you, when Derrick and I get together, we really feed off of each other, and like the ideas that we have are like forged and become more powerful. And so it's a great 1-2 punch of a couple of exiters that are good teachers too. And we'd love to have you join this. You can join by just joining the CiVL platform. It's $5 a month. You get access to this series and all sorts of great stuff on top of that. But let's go ahead and bring on the founder of CiVL, whom along with his team does some incredible work in this space. My good friend, the one, the only, Jarman.
Hey, what's up, John?
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you tuning in from today? You're up there in the Northeast, eh?
I'm actually in Central Texas right now.
He's in Centex, my man. All right.
You're such a goofball.
Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience for folks that may not be familiar with you or your work?
Yeah, my name is Justin Arman, and I'm the founder and executive director of an exciting new media platform called CiVL. We've only been around for about 1.5 years. We recently received funding from this great foundation that, believes that we can one day evolve past centralized cores of institutions, sort of graduate as a species to a more voluntary world in which, all the levers of society that create wealth and prosperity can be maximized and optimize happiness and wealth and well-being for everyone. So they have a very lofty vision. It's a vision I've always held close to my heart, and it's a real privilege to actually create a platform with that express agenda.
Let's go, rock and roll. So you've worked on a variety of projects in the freedom space in your life. What motivated you to want to do a streaming platform? Because it's not just like, hey, we got these online courses. It's put together like a Netflix style app. It's pretty pro.
Yeah, we have apps on TV and mobile. Most people are streaming like with Roku and Fire. You can check out CiVL in the search, and you'll find our app there. Our apps are actually free to use. And then we have a members only area with discussion groups and presentations, one of which is starting today. Derrick Broze goes live in the kickoff series for the opt-out series that's happening at 4 p.m. Pacific. And then we have mobile apps, and you can always stream us with browsers. But, I've always been captivated by entertainment and media and the arts. Like, I have a background in the arts as a musician, and it's the most powerful tool to help people overcome failures of imagination. When you hit the heart centers, the pathos, some people are more logos driven and they want the data, and that's why they convince themselves of their view of the world. But the masses are moved by their heart, and I've always been drawn to entertainment in general and what that can do, and why, that's definitely upstream from many people's worldview. And we can actually see that, the sort of Marxist memetics, the Marxist framework of the world was really captured in the imagination in the arts over the last, century and beyond. And then, as you can see in recent times, everybody said the socialists, the leftists had, captured media and the arts, and were basically a block of power that could not be overcome. And it prescribed a view of the world that, was really, seeds were being planted in the youth. And this has happened, since the post-McCarthy era of Hollywood. But in recent times, in our lifetime, as recently as like 2010, 2011, 2012, we could see a new form of political expression being captured in the minds of the youth, and that has overcome sort of the more kind of neo-Marxist elements. And we can see that in the rise of, or I should say, the renaissance of right-wing populism in the form of MAGA. Like everybody sees the podcast circuit is overwhelmingly dominated by, this sort of new brand of right-wing populist conservatives or center-right, kind of a center-right brand of America First, and whatever you want to call it. It's something very different than the brand that, had captured the world 100 years previous. And nobody, that I was around would believe that something like this would take hold. And this very thing is what ushered in the rise of MAGA and Trump, and call it for what you will, the power to capture the imagination and to dominate media is what is required to change the social order. And, I've fought in politics. I've, done a lot of startup work as an entrepreneur, and I'm finally at a point where I can work in this space and try to, give people some of the professionalism, support as artists, distributors, as podcasters, as media people that they didn't have before. And that's what CiVL is here to do. We're here to find the right minds that we believe are going to usher in a more civil world, a world that rejects coercive institutions, a world that believes in, symmetrical power structures where the power rests with the individual and the people in the communities, and people pushing sort of a mission of bridging, people across different worldviews to realize that it's not you versus me or the left versus right, but us against power itself. And that power itself is the beneficiaries of this tribal divide. And so we're here to find this sort of new wave of talent and that have the ability to break through, and to support them in kind of ushering in an era that we believe that the masses are really wanting now. In fact, I have many friends that are, working in, conservative media, and that have, masterminded the rise of the new mainstream media. It's not alternative media, but it's the media that's far more popular than, CNN and NPR. And from my experiences with some of these people that are, working in these networks, is I don't want to call it a culpability, but there is a sense that there's a bit of a responsibility for where we're at, and that maybe just maybe the rise of MAGA and the things that they were really agitating to help come to be have disappointed them. And with the recent assassination of Charlie Kirk, I think people are having an opportunity to look at themselves in the mirror and go, man, like, we're not, of course, directly responsible for this, but when we're turning up the temperature and pitting people against each other and dehumanizing each other, it seems to me that violence is not, violence is an outcome that we should not be, surprised by. And so it seems to me that his death, and just kind of the general disappointment of what we see coming out of, the people that rose to power with Trump and their promises, and now where we're at, I see that even people that are working within the establishment are truly wanting something new. And a lot of these people's hearts are moving in a more nonviolent, non-coercive direction, and are more adjacent to a world that is moderate, and a world that pulls on the virtues of both sides, and that wants us to evolve beyond the culture war. And it's just, I feel like it's in the zeitgeist, and that's why we're here. And with our growth and excitement in what we're doing, it's definitely an opportunity and exciting time to be a part of this space. And I'm truly grateful to be in the position I am right now. It's honestly a gift.
Jarman. I love it. And that's great insight and analysis. I want to get you, because you have spent a lot of time thinking about education and how to convey ideas, a variety of different ideas. And you've been in the game for a while, so you have perspective and maybe a smidgen of wisdom, but
just a smidge.
Just a smidge. Can you?
I'm not nearly as wise as I thought I once was. The older I get, the less wise I believe I am.
I know how that goes, boy, and more humble too. Anyway, can you talk more about this logos, ethos, pathos thing, and how your awareness of learning through these different modalities? First, give the audience an explanation of what that is, what that means, why it's important. But then, like you said, that you guys are leaning on the pathos side, how that goes into conveying these ideas, waking people up, turning people onto the ideas of freedom, identifying what methodology they like to learn from. What's that all about, and have you applied it into your work here with CiVL?
Yeah, if you're interested in concepts like that, obviously turning to Aristotle and the rhetorical triangle, and studying the trivium, and diving into just how we construct our worldviews and our belief systems in different ways. But put more simply, it's just the head, heart, mind idea that we have different personality types, and the way that we value information and emotion and our communities is different, and we weight them differently. So some people, they feel like being a part of a community of ideas matters, and identity within those communities. And then some people they want to be moved, and they care, and they lead with their heart. And you can see a lot of these brands of people who live with their heart and compassion, they have more socialistic tendencies, because they want to take care of people who can't take care of themselves. And it's a noble aim. Frankly, it just creates political structures that do the opposite of what they intend. And then you have, logos people who are really all about the rigor and the data and the consistency of reason and evidence. And a lot of these people are analysts, and a lot of these people actually find themselves to be more libertarian, because libertarians kind of have more of a draw towards consistency and legal elegance and structural elegance. But these people are they're not the most common types, and a lot of these people are also our engineers and scientists and so on. And so it's really important that aligning one's head, heart, and mind is how we turn data into values. And that happens. The fact is that, yes, we do lean with different modalities of this existence and how we perceive this existence. But when we line those up, that's usually when we can shift our idea structures, and we can start actually living by the ideas, and they shape our values. And so when you're talking about like education is awakening those three things. It's, if you sit there and you just do rote, mathematical operations, you don't really understand the big picture. And a lot of people, like I always took more advanced math, but I didn't take physics. And that was such a unfortunate thing, because math without physics is like, it's this idea that you're in the level of abstraction, but you don't see how it extends into actual physical reality, And so when we have an education, usually it's decontextualized, or we learn about a lot of facts, but we don't learn how to think, and we don't, exercise our reason centers and how to reason and the science of reason and logic itself. And so sometimes, schools will focus more on like poetry and the arts, but then, if things aren't rooted in a mathematical reality or bound by the laws of physics, then they don't have a chance of manifesting on this planet, or you'll build structures that are highly wasteful and inefficient, and that rely on coercion to operate, which is why oftentimes you see the most terrible ideas coming out of people with arts backgrounds, and then, if you're just in cold rationality, you can commit atrocity and actually justify it. And so without the heart center, leading with reason can also be dangerous. So to be educated is to just find our own humanity and understand that we're individuals and a part of this incredible existence that we're all interconnected in. And I think that process is just revealing who we are and where we are, and constantly contemplating that,
I love it. And it sounds like CiVL, a lot of the programming that I'm seeing checks a lot of the boxes to appeal to folks of all these different little pathways. Tell me, let's review CiVL, right? So again, guys, if you're just joining us, this is Live Free Now show. We're joined by Jarman, aka Justin Arman, aka the founder of CiVL, aka a good friend of mine. And he founded this platform along with an awesome team. And essentially, it's like a liberty-minded streaming platform. You can literally download the app on your Roku, on your Sony Smart TV or whatever, Google TV, and it's there with the Netflix and the Amazon Prime. And it functions just the same. It's super pro, and you got different shows that you can watch. And then Derrick and I are collaborating along with Justin to put together this 10-week opt-out challenge. So you sign up, it's just $5 a month, super cheap. That's like 25 or that's so much, 25% less than what Netflix will charge you to get indoctrinate your kids into questioning their gender. Instead, they'll get indoctrinated into the philosophy of liberty, which is fine by me. But there's a ton of cool shows and documentaries. And the one that I want to go check out is the one on Kim.com. I've always been fascinated by that guy. So I watched the trailer. I haven't watched it yet, but it looks like it's like, wow, this is super professional. And you can watch it on your TV, which is cool. So not only do you get access to all these incredible shows and programming and regular shows, like they have exclusive shows that'll put out regular content only on the CiVL platform, but you also can join for the next 10 weeks, starting today at 6 p.m. Central through December 31st. I'll be rocking on December 31st. It's a Wednesday. There's a 10-week challenge. Like a lecture series that Derrick Broze and I are doing, all about exit and build, opting out of the financial control grid, growing your own food, having the right mindset, building a community, you name it. So you've been collaborating with Derrick. We were in conversation separately. Tell me what inspired you to be like, hey, what if we put these together? And then you've been helping to co-create this vision. Why do you think this is important? And why do you think folks should definitely sign up and check it out?
Well, without, the practical tools, the how-to, we're just armchairing this idea. Like, the sitting in theory and sitting in data and just like learning about what's happening in the world and not doing anything is, to me, not why we're here. And CiVL, is more than just a streaming platform. We have our community manager, Isley Boxley. She sees us as a working group that, can pool diverse perspectives, organizations, people together across party lines and across different constituencies to work together so long as we have a unified idea of reducing and eliminating coercion. So she's more on the community front. And we have been talking, since the beginning about hosting dynamic conversations with remarkable minds building the future. Where, if we have an idea like the Technocracy, we all know, we've heard of the Technocracy, and we have a great documentary on the Technocracy on our website called Trust Us, and you can check out the history of Technocracy. It goes back quite a ways, but we're actually seeing this sort of neo-techno-fascist technocratic state, monarchical technocratic state of people that are like really agitating this new like corporate private blend to, really remove any sense of privacy or sovereignty that the people have left. And so a lot of this power is not just coming out of the state, but corporate power as well. And we can see this happening with the rise of AI, with, what's happening with central bank digital currencies and things that are happening that are unprecedented to empower state and corporate interests to basically take away any last semblance of privacy and sort of anonymity that we have left. And it seems to me that a lot of people think that's inevitable. CiVL is a place for practical optimists, which means that nothing is inevitable. The work we do now is what matters. And that we believe that the work we do now can actually change outcomes for ourselves and future generations. And so, I've seen you committed to these ideas, John, old school, and same with Derrick. I mean, he wrote the book, How to Opt Out of the Technocratic State. And so I was talking to him like, hey, let's create a course on exactly how to do it. Because, in some degree, it's essentially becoming virtually impossible to do that while simultaneously participating in this world and traveling and, being somebody who wants to be prosperous and not live in abject poverty. If you truly want to opt out of the technocratic state, you're basically signing up for a life of poverty. And so that didn't sound right to me. And I feel like there's other ways, like the technology that's being used to enslave us can also be used to liberate us and help us unlock wealth beyond, our wildest imagination. So let's bring the people that are sounding the alarms to the forefront to show our community exactly how to opt out from the digital to the financial to the decisions that we make in our daily lives and how we structure our lives in order to secure our freedom for ourselves and our children and our homes and our communities. That's what matters. And so, yes, we can watch all the documentaries and listen to Alex Jones and all the conspiracy bros talk about, the coming apocalypse, but none of that matters if we can't be men and we can't be adults to actually take this into our own hands to do something about it. And so I'm all about action. And so I and Isley, our community manager, have talked about creating regular discussion groups to actually improve the lives of our members and our communities, to get out there and actually change things and stop just being media, but actually showing people how. And so that kicked off this series. It's happening every Wednesday. Derrick Broze is starting today at 4 p.m. The full schedule is on the site. Just go to CiVL, log in. You can actually check out the calendar section we just went live with, and it shows you all the upcoming talks. Next week, obviously, John, you'll be presenting. And then you guys will be oscillating with your perspectives, because you guys do have unique perspectives, but you're a part of the same tribe. People really need to understand how to be successful while navigating the technocratic state. And people need to understand that there's more to life than just financial success, and that we also need to live a moral life where our head, heart, and minds are aligned. And maybe we ought to forego certain things in order to secure our freedom, if freedom is something that we value.
Heck yeah. Well, speaking of freedom, there's my Gmail. I'm trying to log into the platform. That's great. Yeah, it's all about action, because there's shows and commentary all day till you're blue in the face. Blah, 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 blah. And a lot of them play up the fear element because it gets more clicks and it gets more views. And one thing that I've come to realize is that when there's fear, conspiracy documentaries, civil wars coming down the road, this all blah, 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 it creates this like tension, anxiety, stress, pressure. And that tension pressure can either result in being black-pilled. So it's like there's so much pressure, there's so much tension, I'm so afraid and overwhelmed that I'm going to go back to sleep, or I'm going to stop paying attention. Or it could pressure erupt in some kind of reactionary leftist or right-wing movement. Oh, I'm so angry, I'm so pissed off. And now that gets channeled into some right-wing reactionary movement that is more about what we aren't and more about we're against them than it is about these are our principles and we're standing for something and trying to build something. But what I've found releases the pressure most effectively is to allow that pressure to release in the form of exit and build, taking action. Because here's another thing. If you go pressure, and then it's like, oh, well, Trump's going to save us, or this politician's going to do the right thing. Pressure. Let me put my faith in this politician and put my energy behind the Maha movement, for example. And Trump, they're going to do something finally. We're going to have justice about the COVID stuff. It's only a matter of time before inevitably, literally inevitably, every time, it never fails, you get some excitement, then it gets deflated, and then you're back to the misery. Damn, we shouldn't trust them. And then it's only a matter of time before the cycle repeats. Pressure. But contrast that with, we know that you, like us, see there's a problem in the world. There's this tyranny, there's this technocracy. Let's learn about it. Let's understand it. But let's point you in the right direction where you can take action, where you can grow a garden, where you can raise your kids outside the system, where you can get together with other freedom people, where you can take control of your financial life, where you can trade outside the system. You can get a wallet. You can start getting some crypto. You can start offering goods and services and receiving money under the table with silver or whatever, right? Silver ounces or junk silver. That actually gives you something. Not only is it an outlet, but no matter what happens in the external world, no matter what false promises the politicians inevitably don't put forward and don't comply, don't do, you still are making forward progress towards living a better life. And no matter what's happening out here, it's fulfilling to build. We're creators. That's in our nature as human beings. And so, yeah, really excited to be doing this, and always awesome to do stuff with Derrick. You and I haven't done something for a while, so it's awesome to be collaborating with you again, Jarman. I see you share. So that's coming up, guys. It starts today, 6 p.m. CiVL.com. You can sign up or go to CiVL.com. That's CiVL.com/LFA. It'll take you right to the landing page so you can see what the series is all about. So again, not only do you get this powerful series, which is worth way more than $5 a month, I tell you what, it's an hour and a half, plus there's Q&A every week. So $15, you get this powerful 10 episode series. But on top of that, there's all sorts of other shows and programming. So I see that you have your screen shared. Do you want to show us and highlight some of the programs that we'll get access to when we join?
Yes, exactly. So we have films, debates, shows, and discussion groups. So right now we're featuring a Serge Tonkin's film. This is a really powerful film about his commitment as an artist to bring awareness to the Armenian genocide of 1950, perpetrated by the Young Turks, where his people were systematically exterminated. This is an idea of how art is so powerful, because he uses his band System of a Down, who's larger than ever. And I just saw them in concert in New Jersey. Phenomenal to see how they broke through. I used to see them open for bands as an opener. Now they're just mega famous and everybody loves them. But we have their documentary on the platform, and you can kind of go through and check out some of like the major films that we have on innovation. Some are like narratives, short films that are just, really powerful. Of course, Kim.com. So if you go through, you'll see we have news and commentary. We have shows that are our own original shows, but then we have partners across our movement that are, somewhat mission aligned, that, believe in what we're doing, and that we platform them. CiVL, platforms ideas that maybe the individuals within CiVL may not always agree with, but we're here to be a coalition of ideas. And that's what we're here to build. We're here to build bridges. And then this section is all of our upcoming discussions. So through the end of the year, we have the opt-out series. And then we have this like awesome, intellectual society with Anthony Davies and James R. Harrigan from a show that is our original show called Words and Numbers. And these guys are, talking about economic principles, political science principles, and history. And they are grappling with the idea as well, is whether human civilization can actually overcome the coercive institutions we rely on today, and also why we have these institutions. So it's more of an intellectual pursuit of these ideas, and these guys are like professors and just phenomenal. And so they're working in, so like they're starting their series tomorrow on human respect and human systems, and whether we can overcome the state or whether we need the state. And then they talk about like the knowledge problem. They go into Hayek, unintended consequences, public choice theory, and then what are the levers of society that drive human flourishing. This series is for people that really like theory and ideas. It's less about practice and more about, education and the sort of intellectual pursuit. And then the other thing that we have cool here is feature films. We partnered with a production company, founded by the Beastie Boys, and they put out like really awesome films that are like high genre films. We have Combat Obscura. And then, we work with independent filmmakers. Like The War on Horrors is an exceptional film about essentially predicting the sort of new boogeyman that would essentially be there to use the word human trafficking in order to like take away the rights of people engaging in consensual transactions. So just like the reefer madness craze of the 90s, where everybody was pushing this sort of propaganda that marijuana would destroy civilization and always lead to heroin and just the worst type of choices that one can make. In this sort of new era of boogeyman forming, this woman, Maggie, it's a story about her, and she kind of predicts the sort of rise of MAGA and America First, and sort of consolidating power by blaming all the world's problems on human trafficking, and then using that to sort of control and take away our social freedom. So economic freedom is extremely important, and you can't have economic freedom without sort of individual freedom to express and pursue your own happiness through consensual exchange. And so, we're outlawing human behavior that, just wants to trade value for value. And so there's an express attack on, prostitution and things that we disagree with, because we want to moralize. We want to use the state to moralize. And yes, human trafficking is a problem, but it's also being used to essentially take away our God-given rights to freedom of exchange and freedom of association. And this film really goes into it and goes into the data. It's funny because, I also had this idea that, like, let's just say, instead of going too far into that, this actually was the last time I had a light bulb go off. And I never connected the idea that human trafficking is sort of the new boogeyman that is being used to sort of consolidate power, because I've always seen that human trafficking is a real evil on this planet, but that evil is being used as a pretext to consolidate coercive power. And I invite people to challenge their assumptions and actually check out that film. But we have a ton of films like this, and they go across party lines, like they're just ideas, and some are just inspiring, like this In Search of Greatness. And there's just a lot of cool films we spend a lot of money on, and we're like, only charging $5 a month to get access to. We would never be able to do this if we weren't supported by a foundation. But then we have short films and exclusives. Like many people know about Freedom Fest. Like, you can watch all of Freedom Fest on our platform exclusively. We have stuff coming out of the Free Cities movement that most people don't know about. Most people don't know that there's actually cities that are doing what we all want to see for the world, like lowering and eliminating taxes to a point where it's like not a burden at all, and adopting common law frameworks, and basically taking all of the sort of levers of society that lead to wealth and flourishing, and actually experimenting in a region in Honduras called Prospera. We are partnering with them to highlight talks and things that you can see happening, where entrepreneurs, visionaries are coming together, and they're building businesses that can't operate in the United States because of regulatory restrictions, and just how remarkably regulated and economically unfree American society actually is. They have created a place to allow entrepreneurs and visionaries to come all over and actually do this stuff to tackle human longevity, and do biotech, and cool crypto stuff and AI stuff, and there's just so much optimism coming out of this region called Prospera. And so we're highlighting talks. You ask 100 people, and maybe one person knows what Prospera is, but all of our community knows what Prospera is, because we bring ideas that are not out there, and we feature them on our platform. Other platforms are about fear mongering. We're about showing the greatest of ourselves, and showing just how incredible this day is, and all of the just cool stuff coming out of our world that just doesn't get platformed at all. And then we have like talks and lectures and that kind of stuff. So yeah, thank you for letting me share that with you guys. And again, it's only $5 a month or $50 a year. It's really change in order to take in all this content, So
yeah, heck yeah. And you said there's a Trust Us, a Technocracy documentary.
Yeah, here, let me throw it in the search bar here. If you just use our Trust Us.
You just use this is That's great. I'm going to include that in some of the email marketing, because that's right up. Let's move us out of the way here. Cool.
This was done by Pacific Legal Foundation, which is an organization we love. They sue the government. They actually get out there and make change. But yeah, they did this film a while ago, and we're featuring it on the platform. That's all I wanted to show you.
Let's go. Okay, excellent. Hey, man, I want to thank you for putting this platform together. Again, folks, you can join over at CiVL. That's CiVL.com/LFA, CiVL.com/LFA. That will take you to this page here. me show you what it looks like. And you'll be able to see what the opt-out series is all about. But of course, again, when you sign up, you don't just get access to the opt-out series going live every Wednesday, rotating between the great Derrick Broze and myself. You get access to all of this 10-episode series, but you also get every single other program on the platform, all the cool documentaries and the other live shows and discussions, and access to a community. And they're adding stuff regularly, so definitely give this a try. And again, the cool thing is you can put an app on your TV so you can sit and watch this from the comfort of your couch, pop open a sparkling water. Not a soda, and have some popcorn maybe, and hang out with the family, and get your kids watching it too. Good educational entertainment content. Maybe skip the horror program with the kids. But yeah, it's just $50 a year or $5 a month. $50 a year.
You're out of control, John. Out of control.
You ain't seen nothing yet. $50 a year. $5 a month. Just we'll replace the sparkling water with a little White Claw, and then we'll have a good time. Don't tell anybody, but one of my drinks of choice is White Claw. It's a very masculine drink.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what I drink too. I go to the bars and I'm like, what do you have? A seltzer or something, zero sugar. I get the most feminine drinks that I possibly can because they're the only ones that don't make me feel terrible after I drink them.
Yeah, some of them are just loaded with sugar too. At least you're not getting a strawberry daiquiri. Or
a cranberry juice. I can't even do cranberry juice. It's got too much sugar in it.
We went off the rails in the middle of my pitch. So CiVL.com/LFA, CiVL.com/LFA, $5 a month. I promise you. I know I'm bringing the goods every other Wednesday for 6 Wednesdays. Derrick Broze always bring the goods. That's going to be some really hard hitting, tactical and strategic direction for you. And then if you want to go get into the ethos and the intellectual and watch some of the other series and documentaries, sounds like there's some really cool stuff. I'm definitely going to check it out. Again,
and we swear this is not an infomercial. Like, this is not an advertorial. Like, we're here because we believe in each other's work, and that we've been promoting each other's work for many years. And we just want you to be a part of this community. We're not, making money from these subscribers. We're losing ungodly amounts of money making this all happen for everybody. Having subscribers helps offset some of the costs, but we really want you to be a part of this community. We have this cool community billboard and that sort of thing. You can meet us when you write CiVL. I get the email. We're like real people. We're here working together, and we're doing this because we believe the stakes are high, and it's time.
You got infomercial vibes for my delivery. That's just how I deliver on all things. I just go into
You're just such a great salesman. Even with anarcho-capitalism and stuff, I feel like I'm buying a timeshare.
You can't go anywhere. You need to stay here for the next 4 hours. That's my style. All right, anyway. CiVL.com/LFA. Check it out. $5 a month. All right, Mr. Justin, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us, and really excited to be hosting this series on the platform.
Thanks, man.
All right, take care. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Arman, a.k.a. Jarman, coming at you. CiVL.com/LFA if you want to sign up. And Derrick goes live today at 6. Great content, great material. CiVL.com/LFA. And if you want to join us for the masterclass tomorrow to learn about the Edge wallet and how you can use it to bridge Bitcoin to private Zano, do that. And then somebody had a question here. They were asking if you can you peg a gold-backed token? You can, Robert. In fact, there's a project in the works to do just that Aaron Day is working on. It's been taking a while to get off the ground, but there's definitely an effort to do that. So appreciate the question there. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This is Live Free Now Show, bringing you the news, views, tips, and tools you can use to live a free, prosperous, and healthy life. Until next time, guys, peace and freedom. We'll see you next Wednesday. We're actually going to be joined by Tom Barnett next Wednesday. He's a common law guy that gets into the spiritual side of the common law stuff. Really powerful. I've been blown away by a presentation I saw of his and some of his content. So definitely check that out. Next Wednesday, Tom Barnett, same bat time, same bat place, 11 a.m. Central. Till next time, guys, peace. Stay free out there. Bye.